Sharon Stone. The name alone takes you back to some of Hollywood's most unforgettable moments. She wasn't just a movie star, she was a global icon. From the roles that made her famous to the relationships that kept her in the headlines, Sharon lived her life in the spotlight. But her journey was never easy. She faced painful health scares, career ups and downs, and moments that almost ended it all. And now, at 67, Sharon Stone has shocked fans with her latest appearance. It's a reminder of both her strength and her story. Join us as we take a closer look at her life, her struggles, and the woman she is today. Early life and family. Sharon Von Stone was born on March 10, 1958, in the small town of Meadville, Pennsylvania. Her parents were Dorothy Marie, an accountant, and Joseph William Stone II, who worked as a tool and die manufacturer. Sharon was raised in a Methodist household, surrounded by 3 siblings. Her roots were mostly Scots-Irish and English, though she also had some Irish heritage. In a 2013 interview with Conan O'Brien, Sharon said her Irish ancestors came to America during the Great Famine. Even at a young age, Sharon stood out. She had a reported IQ of 154, which placed her in the category of being gifted. Her teachers quickly realized her abilities, and she was moved ahead in school, entering the 2nd grade when she was only 5 years old. But brilliance didn't mean life was easy. Sharon revealed much later, in her 2021 memoir promotion, that both she and her sister had been sexually abused by their maternal grandfather. She told the New York Times about this painful memory while reflecting on her childhood and the courage it took to revisit such trauma. At the age of 14, she also suffered a serious accident. While riding a horse, the animal bolted and charged toward a washing line. Sharon was thrown, and her neck was badly injured. Despite these hardships, she pressed on. By 1975, she graduated from Sagertown High School in Pennsylvania. At only 15, Sharon was admitted to Edinburgh State College on a creative writing scholarship. But her ambitions soon pushed her toward a different path. She quit college and moved to New York City, hoping to become a fashion model. Years later, in 2016, she returned to Edinburgh University to finish her degree. She explained that she was inspired by Hillary Clinton's example of resilience. But before all that, Sharon's journey in modeling and acting was only beginning, and it would soon take her far beyond Meadville. Modeling and acting beginnings. While in college, Sharon entered beauty contests and in 1976 won the title of Miss Crawford County, Pennsylvania. That same year, she even competed for Miss Pennsylvania. One of the pageant judges gave her advice that would change her life. He told her to leave college and move to New York to pursue modeling. Sharon listened. She left her hometown and moved in with her aunt in New Jersey. By 1977, she signed with the famous Ford modeling agency in New York City. Her career quickly took off, and soon she was working in Europe. She lived in Milan for a year and then in Paris. But despite her success, Sharon grew restless. She realized she didn't want to just pose in front of cameras. She wanted to perform. As she later recalled, "So I packed my bags, moved back to New York, and stood in line to be an extra in a Woody Allen movie." That film turned out to be Stardust Memories in 1980. She only had a brief role, but it opened the door. A year later, she got a speaking role in the horror movie Deadly Blessing. She also landed a tiny part in the French film Les Uns et les Autres in 1982, though she wasn't credited. Her early years were filled with television guest spots. She appeared in shows like Silver Spoons, Remington Steele, Bay City Blues, Magnum, P.I., and T.J. Hooker. On the big screen, she started with roles in movies that were not big hits. She acted in Irreconcilable Differences in 1984 with Ryan O'Neal, Shelley Long, and a young Drew Barrymore. She tried her hand at action-adventure in King Solomon's Mines, and its sequel, Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold. Critics did not love those films. In fact, Sharon even earned her first Golden Raspberry nomination for Worst Actress. Yet, one review in the New York Times noticed her potential, saying she was spunky, sexy, smart-talking, even if the films themselves fell flat. Through the late 1980s, Sharon kept working. She appeared in War and Remembrance, Police Academy 4, Cold Steel, Above the Law, and Action Jackson. None made her a household name, but Sharon wasn't done yet. Her big break was still around the corner. Breakthrough roles. In 1990, Sharon finally caught the attention of Hollywood in a big way. She starred in Total Recall alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger. She played his wife, who wasn't exactly what she seemed. The movie was a huge success, making over $260 million worldwide. Critics praised it, and Sharon's career finally had momentum. The next year, she appeared in several films, including He Said, She Said, and Scissors. But then came the movie that made her unforgettable, Basic Instinct in 1992. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, Sharon played Catherine Trammell, a novelist suspected of murder. The role was bold, controversial, and risky. Many actresses had turned it down because of the nudity and intensity, but Sharon accepted it, and it changed everything. Reviews for the movie were mixed, but Sharon's performance was undeniable. Rolling Stone critic Peter Travers wrote, "Stone, a former model, is a knockout. She can nail a laugh or shade an emotion with equal aplomb." Another critic said the film did more for female empowerment than any feminist rally. The film grossed over $350 million worldwide, and Sharon became a global star. She was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actress, and even though she also received a Razzie nomination, her career was officially transformed. Sharon had gone from forgotten supporting roles to being one of the most talked-about actresses in the world. But, as the saying goes, the higher you climb, the harder the fall. Leading lady and Hollywood fame. After Basic Instinct, Sharon was everywhere. In 1993, she starred in Sliver, which critics didn't like but still earned over $116 million worldwide. She appeared in Intersection with Richard Gere and in The Specialist with Sylvester Stallone. While some of these roles got her more Razzie nominations, she remained in demand. In 1995, she took on a very different role in The Quick and the Dead, a Western where she played a gunfighter seeking revenge for her father's death. She even produced the film and made important casting choices. Sharon insisted on Sam Raimi as the director and pushed for Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio as her co-stars, even paying DiCaprio's salary herself. The film was only a modest success, but it showed Sharon's influence behind the scenes. That same year, she starred in Casino, directed by Martin Scorsese and alongside Robert De Niro. Sharon played Ginger McKenna, the manipulative wife of a gambling expert. The film was praised by critics, and Sharon's performance was hailed as the best of her career. She won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Drama and earned an Oscar nomination for Best Actress. She later said, "Thank God. I mean, just finally. Wow. I am not getting any younger. It couldn't have happened at a better time." Sharon also received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1995, but success didn't always last. The next few years brought films like Diabolique, Last Dance, and Sphere, which didn't connect with audiences. She had better luck with the animated film Ants in 1998 and earned praise for her role in The Mighty. By 1999, Sharon was still working, starring in Gloria and The Muse. Critics were mixed, and she even faced controversy when luxury watches were sent to Golden Globe members, raising questions about nominations. But by then, Sharon Stone had cemented her place in Hollywood history, with performances that people still remember today. Hiatus and Downturn. In 2000, Sharon Stone appeared in two very different projects. She played a lesbian trying to start a family opposite Ellen DeGeneres in the HBO film If These Walls Could Talk Too. She also starred as an exotic dancer in the comedy Beautiful Joe. While her performance in the HBO film earned her recognition from Women in Film and her second Lucy Award, Beautiful Joe did not fare well. The movie skipped theaters in North America and went straight to cable television. Critics were harsh, with Nathan Rabin of the AV Club calling it a toxic piece of whimsy that ranks among the worst films of 2000. Then in September 2001, Sharon's life took a sharp turn. She was hospitalized with a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a serious brain bleed that nearly ended her career. Recovery was long and difficult. She later admitted, "When you find yourself at the back of the line in your business, as I did, you have to figure yourself out all over again." For a time, she felt she had lost her place in Hollywood. After 2 years away, Sharon returned in 2003 with a role in The Practice. She played Sheila Carlisle, a lawyer who believed she could talk to God. Her performance impressed critics, and she even won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a drama series. Sharon tried to return to mainstream film roles with Cold Creek Manor in 2003 and Catwoman in 2004. Both films flopped, and Catwoman was labeled one of the worst movies ever made. But Sharon didn't give up, and her next move brought her back into critical favor: independent films and ensemble dramas. In 2005, Sharon appeared in Jim Jarmusch's film Broken Flowers. She played a closet organizer reconnecting with a past lover, played by Bill Murray. The film premiered at Cannes and was praised by critics. It was even nominated for the Palme d'Or and won the Grand Prix. Far Out magazine later listed her role as one of her 10 best performances. New York Magazine wrote that Sharon demonstrates that given the right part, she's still not merely sexy, but knockabout, funny, and sly. That same year, France honored her by naming her Officer of the Order of Arts and Letters. In 2006, after years of delay and legal battles, Basic Instinct 2 was finally released. Sharon had disagreed with filmmakers about nudity in the film. She later explained, "We are in a time of odd repression, and if a popcorn movie allows us to create a platform for discussion, wouldn't that be great?" Despite her passion, the movie performed poorly, earning only $6 million domestically from a $70 million budget. But Sharon quickly shifted to heavier roles. In Alpha Dog, 2006, she played the mother of a murder victim and wore a fat suit for the part. The movie premiered at Sundance and earned critical respect. That same year, she was part of the ensemble cast in Emilio Estevez's Bobby, a film about the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy. Her performance, especially in a scene with Lindsay Lohan, drew praise. The cast was nominated for a Screen Actors Guild Award, and they won the Best Ensemble Cast at the Hollywood Film Festival. Sharon was proving she could still deliver memorable performances. Searching for roles. In 2007, Sharon starred in When a Man Falls in the Forest, playing a clinically depressed woman. The film premiered at the Berlin Film Festival and was nominated for the Golden Bear. Still, most of her late 2000s films, If I Had Known I Was a Genius, The Year of Getting to Know Us, $5 a Day, and Streets of Blood, went straight to DVD. In 2010, she returned to television with 4 guest appearances on Law & Order, Special Victims Unit. Critics called her a great presence and said she revived her best tones to make even weak lines believable. In 2011, Sharon starred in the French action film Largo Winch 2, playing a UN investigator. The film did well in France, opening in second place at the box office. She later took roles in Border Run, 2012, Lovelace, 2013, and Fading Gigolo, 2013. In Lovelace, she played the mother of porn actress Linda Lovelace. In Fading Gigolo, She worked with Woody Allen and John Turturro and was praised for being splendidly understated. Glenn Kenny described the film as often funny, sometimes moving, occasionally goofy as hell. Sharon continued working in Europe too, starring in the Italian dramedy A Golden Boy in 2014. She also appeared in the short-lived TV series Agent X, playing the first female vice president of the United States. In 2016, she took on roles in Mothers and Daughters, Life on the Line, and Running Wild. All three were released on video on demand with mixed reviews. Then came a highlight. In 2017, she appeared in James Franco's The Disaster Artist, playing Agent Iris Burton. The movie became a critical and commercial hit, landing on the National Board of Review's list of top 10 films of the year. Sharon was back in the spotlight, and she was ready to keep building on that momentum. Television and fashion icon. In 2018, Sharon took on another ambitious project. She starred in Steven Soderbergh's HBO production Mosaic. It was unique because it was released as both an interactive mobile app and a television drama. Critics praised her, with Variety saying she showed terrific range and depth, and The Daily Beast calling her performance something close to masterful. She won the Satellite Award for Best Supporting Actress for her role. In 2019, she appeared as herself in Martin Scorsese's documentary Rolling Thunder Review, which mixed fact and fiction around Bob Dylan's 1975 tour. Critics said her presence captured the essence of Hollywood fame. She reunited with Soderbergh that same year for The Laundromat, acting opposite Meryl Streep. Sharon then joined Netflix's Ratched in 2020, playing a wealthy heiress who hires a hitman. She said of the role, "completely insane." And at the same time, she thinks she's really a loving mother who has her shit together. The series was watched by 48 million people in its first 4 weeks. She also appeared briefly in The New Pope, and later in Billy Crystal's Here Today in 2021. Over the decades, Sharon also cemented her status as a fashion and sex symbol. She appeared on over 300 magazine covers, including French Vogue in 1986 and Playboy in 1990. After Basic Instinct, legendary photographer George Hurrell photographed her in what became his final sitting before his death. Sharon also worked with Dior in 2005 and later appeared in fashion short films. She ranked among People's 50 Most Beautiful People and Playboy's 25 Sexiest Stars of the Century. In 2014, she told Oprah Winfrey, "It's a pleasure for me now. I mean, I'm gonna be 56 years old. If people want to think I'm a sex symbol, it's like, yeah. Think it up. In 2015, she posed nude for Harper's Bazaar, saying, at a certain point, you start asking yourself, what really is sexy? It's being present and having fun, and liking yourself enough to like the person that's with you." Sharon Stone had faced setbacks, but her ability to reinvent herself again and again kept her name alive. But what about her life behind the camera? Sharon Stone's personal story moves fast and hits hard. Relationships and family. In 1984, on the set of The Vegas Strip War, she met producer Michael Greenberg, married him the same year, worked with him on Alan Quatermain and The Lost City of Gold in 1986, and separated 3 years later, finalizing their divorce in 1990. She dated comedian Gary Shandling for a short time. They studied with acting coach Roy London. She guest-starred on The Larry Sanders Show, and they stayed close until his death in 2016. In 1993 on Sliver, she met co-producer William J. McDonald, who left his wife and got engaged to Sharon, but they split in 1994, and she famously sent the ring back by FedEx. That same year on The Quick and the Dead, she became engaged to first assistant director Bob Wagner. Then came a new chapter. On February 14, 1998, Sharon married Phil Bronstein, the executive editor of the San Francisco Examiner, and later the San Francisco Chronicle. She faced heartbreaking miscarriages caused by an autoimmune disease and endometriosis, and the couple adopted a son in 2000. When Bronstein filed for divorce in 2003, it became final in 2004, with their son living primarily with him and Sharon receiving visitation. Sharon adopted a second son in 2005 and a third in 2006. As of 2018, she lived with her 3 boys in West Hollywood, in a home once owned by Montgomery Clift. But behind the headlines and the homes, her toughest battles were still ahead, and they would test everything she had built. The truth about abuse and power. Sharon's fame rose fast after Basic Instinct in 1992. She became one of the decade's most famous sex symbols, yet her talent spoke louder. She won a Golden Globe for Casino and earned multiple Golden Globe nominations between 1992 and 2000. Still, success did not protect her from Hollywood's worst behavior. In her 2021 memoir, The Beauty of Living Twice, she described pressure from an unnamed producer who, she wrote, via Vanity Fair, explained to me why I should fuck my co-star so that we could have on-screen chemistry. She also said she was misled about the infamous Basic Instinct scene, claiming she was told to remove underwear to prevent light reflection and that nothing intimate would be visible. It was terrifying. I had hideous nightmares. These moments showed how power can twist trust and how a star can be both praised and pushed. But what came next was even more life-changing, a medical emergency that would bring her career and her world to a full stop. Near-fatal stroke and the long road back. In September 2001, at just 43, Sharon suffered a stroke and was rushed to the hospital. In her memoir, she wrote of seeing 3 friends at her bedside, all of whom were already gone. The light was so luminous, she wrote. It was so mystical. I wanted to know it. I wanted to immerse myself, but the reality was brutal. She was in a silent room, and silence meant danger. When the room is so silent and no one's running around trying to fix you, that's when you realize how near death is and how serious everything is. Her brain bled for 9 days. Recovery took years and left her debilitated for 7. Hollywood did not give her grace. People treated me in a way that was brutally unkind, she said, in 2019. She had to remortgage her house. I lost everything I had. I lost my place in the business. I was like the hottest movie star, you know? Slowly, she rebuilt. Step by step, roll by roll, she found her way back. But her fight was bigger than her own body. It was tied to the women in her family and the way medicine listens, or fails to listen, to them. Strokes in the family and speaking up. Sharon revealed that strokes run in her family. Her mother, Dorothy Stone, and her grandmother both suffered strokes. In November 2021, Sharon asked fans for support on Instagram. Say a prayer for Dorothy Marie Stone, my mom, who has suffered another acute stroke tonight. Thanks. She kept the updates human and hopeful. No one puts mommy in the corner. From unresponsive to this in 3 days, she wrote, sharing a photo of Dorothy dressed up in a wheelchair. Later, she celebrated taking her to lunch and thanked everyone for their kindness, joking that Dorothy was 89 years old, 5 strokes, heart attack, pacemaker, looking for a boyfriend. These moments show Sharon's voice as a daughter and an advocate. She spoke out about how women's symptoms are often dismissed. So much of our health industry is geared toward men, she said, adding that women get told they are just PMSing or emotional. She felt that bias herself. When I was in the hospital, they thought I was faking it. From public heartbreak to private courage, from abuse to advocacy, Sharon Stone kept telling the truth. and the next chapter of her life would keep testing that strength in front of the world. How Sharon Stone lost her fortune. You see, Sharon Stone built her career the hard way. Before her breakthrough in Basic Instinct, she had already done more than a dozen films. That role finally made her a global star in her 30s. From there, she earned awards, nominations, and the reputation of being one of the most powerful women in Hollywood. But money was not as steady as her fame. Sharon once admitted her net worth could have been much higher if life hadn't thrown so many setbacks. The biggest came in 2001, when she suffered a stroke that almost killed her. Doctors gave her only a 1% chance of survival. She pulled through, but recovery took 7 long years. When she finally opened her bank account again, she discovered her savings were gone. "People took advantage of me over that time," she told The Hollywood Reporter. "I had $18 million saved because of all my success, but when I got back into my bank account, it was all gone. My refrigerator, my phone. Everything was in other people's names. I had zero money." Sharon had fought for her life, only to realize she had to fight again to rebuild her fortune. But her money troubles didn't stop there, and another blow was waiting years later. The cost of fame. Even as Sharon made her way back, she never pretended that being famous was cheap. Between her home, security, staff, and a team of managers and publicists, expenses were constant. She once explained, "It's very expensive to be famous. You go out to dinner, and there's 15 people at the table, and who gets the check? You get the $3,000 dinner check every single time." But while those dinners were costly, they weren't what shook her finances most. In March 2023, while speaking at a Women's Cancer Research Fund gala, Sharon shared just how hard life had been. She stood on stage and told the audience, "I just lost half my money to this banking thing, and that doesn't mean that I'm not here. My brother just died, and that doesn't mean that I'm not here. This is not an easy time for any of us." She didn't give details, but the timing pointed to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Imagine working for decades, surviving a stroke, and then losing half your money again. But Sharon's strength showed in her words. She admitted she might one day need to downsize, telling InStyle, "Will I make enough money to stay living where I'm living? Probably not, but the kids will leave home and go to college, and I'll sell my big fancy house, and I'll go live like a normal person." For Sharon, life was no longer about wealth. It was about surviving, adapting, and moving forward. That resilience carried her to her most recent public moments, where family and fame once again came together. A rare red carpet with her sons. In August 2025, Sharon turned heads on the red carpet at the Los Angeles premiere of Nobody 2. But this time, she wasn't alone. Her 3 sons, Roan, 25, Laird, 20, and Quinn, 19, joined her in a rare public appearance. Dressed in suits, they stood proudly beside their mom. Roan wore pink, Laird chose a gray-checked, double-breasted suit, and Quinn went for a navy pinstripe look. Sharon looked stunning in a navy Saint Laurent dress, with gold accessories and dark shades that matched her role in the movie. Speaking to People magazine, Sharon shared that her boys were huge fans of the first Nobody film. "It really played an enormous part on why I did the film," she explained. "They flew in to see this because it's their favorite movie." For Sharon, this was more than a film premiere. It was a chance to show the bond she has with her children. She often shares their milestones on Instagram, from throwback photos of them as toddlers to updates on college life. In 2024, Sharon shared how proud she was when her son Laird went off to study medicine in Utah, saying it was a big day as he left for university. She often described herself as a mom above everything else. On Mother's Day, she expressed that her boys, now young men, had made her day complete and truly special. And yet, while her family life keeps her grounded, Her daring side hasn't gone anywhere. She still shocks and surprises the public in the boldest ways. Daring, fashion, and timeless power. Just days after the premiere, Sharon made headlines again, this time for her daring fashion. On the cover of Harper's Bazaar Spain, she stunned in a revealing squared two dress with sky-high slits, styled with Dolce & Gabbana heels. At 67, Sharon showed she still knew how to capture attention. The magazine called her the actress who shook 90s cinema and reminded fans of the power she once held on and off screen. Sharon herself admitted in the issue that fame had given her a kind of absurd and unhealthy power. In another photo, she posed in a blazer and short set, showing off her famous legs in lacy hosiery and Saint Laurent heels. Other images nodded to her iconic Basic Instinct look, with Sharon posing in oversized shirts, lingerie, and even a fur stole. On Late Night with Seth Meyers, she laughed about her style transformation. After years of wearing boxer shorts while raising her sons, she joked, "You do not wear lady panties when you have so many boys. You're just a dude. I'm a girl again. I feel really feminine again." These words show Sharon's mix of humor, honesty, and strength. She may have lost money, faced health crises, and endured personal tragedy, but she still knows how to command the spotlight. And with her sons by her side, Sharon Stone continues to prove that her story is far from over. Do you think Sharon Stone's shocking recent appearances prove she's still the ultimate Hollywood icon? Or has her legacy already been written? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.